Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Our guest on the program today leans from conservative to libertarian. Ray Hager has the rundown.
Of course he's conservative, Sam. After all, this is Nevada. But today's guest is Ranson Webster. He's the chairman of the Nevada Policy Research Institute, and we'll talk about education and other matters.
And on the Power Pundit panel today, Pat Coward, Marlene Lockard, and Dick Gammick. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
In part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we focus on attracting high-tech companies to Northern Nevada. One vital amenity provided to companies at TRI is a connection to a complete digital fiber network. This gives the ability of unlimited bandwidth and voice services to every business. And what's charged for the installation of this valuable asset? Nothing. Zero. Nada. And that's a pretty good deal. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
Nevada Newsmakers is sponsored in part by the Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seem to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Newsmakers, we welcome to the program Ranson Webster, who is the chairman of the Nevada Policy Research Institute, also a very successful businessman and philanthropist. Let's start out, first of all, explain what NPRI is.
NPRI was started in 1990 by a lady here in Reno named Judy Crisanta, and it came to her after a trip to Russia where she felt compelled to start a think tank in Nevada, and did that 15 years ago. This is our 15th year of being in the in the think tank business, and we're a nonpartisan 501c3 organization. We don't take contributions from federal agencies or state agencies. We're totally funded by our membership and from individuals and corporations, and so that's kind of how we got started.
And would I be correct in saying a somewhat conservative to libertarian approach to government?
Yeah, I think that the kind of the key issue is that we're, our whole mantra is based on a free market economy. We believe that less government is more. I wouldn't consider us to be specifically on the right side of the aisle or libertarian, but I would say that our views are a little more conservative, perhaps, than liberal.
Mr. Webster, most of your members, are they Republican with your conservative leanings?
I'm not sure about that because that's not a question that we ask. I think if I looked at the membership, I would find people from all walks of life and both political or all three political persuasions, if you will.
Okay.
All right, let's jump in with the politics here. Have you guys made up your mind at this point of what candidates you're going to support for governor?
You know, we don't support any candidate, and I want to make that really clear to the viewers that MPRI is not about supporting candidates and lobbying for legislation. That's not what we do. We provide research, and we provide that research to the media, to the politicians, and to our members that will allow them to make intelligent decisions which hopefully are based around a free market economy.
Okay, some of your research, let's go back a few years, Mr. Webster. Your research predicted that we wouldn't have this dire shortfall of state funds that was the mantra why we voted for this $836 million tax package.
Correct.
Do you feel like you want to say, I told you so now, that since we have this surplus of state funds?
Well, I think we've been vindicated. I think that when you go back and look at that issue, and as contentious as it was, I think the thing that bothered me the most and that bothered some of our members is that it truly became a political issue, and if you go and look at it, it was strictly along partisan lines, and that was unfortunate because it shouldn't have been a part of the political process. It should have been, you know, this is the way we're projecting revenue, these are what our expenses are, and we published a report before that legislative session and said, wait a minute, we don't need a tax increase at all. Now, we did a follow-up study that was released last December before this current legislature just ended, and we said, I told you so, here are the facts. Governor Gwynn is giving back $300 million he didn't need to collect. And once you start collecting those taxes, it's very, very hard to go in the other direction. It's almost like a ratchet wheel that continues to spin forward.
In defense of Guy Hobbs in the Economic Forum, when Guy was on this program defending this, he said that the additional monies that they raised up were monies that were needed in those areas, but the thing that was the surprise was that the increase in the gaming taxes and the property taxes, they did not expect to get that kind of windfall revenue.
Well, that's true, but one has to go back and look at the reality of it, and that we had a 40-some-odd% tax increase, and that when you take our rate of growth, our population growth and inflation, this exceeded that by many times. I think that's the part that disturbs us.
Okay, so that brings us to Tabor. And are you guys supporting a version of Tabor for Nevada?
We're going to do some additional research on that. I personally support Tabor. I think that's a good thing. I think it's a way to keep government spending under control. I know there's been a lot of contention in Colorado about Tabor. We had the governor here last couple of years ago for one of our fundraisers, and he speaks very effectively about it. And I think you're going to see more positive research done on that, especially by us, because we want to really get into it and make sure that we get the facts, and the facts are correct.
Are you going to ask or approach a senator or an assembly person to sponsor Tabor-like legislation in the 2007 session?
No.
Excuse me, no?
No.
Okay.
Now, I want to make this clear. We don't sponsor legislation, all right? We provide policy and research to legislators, and then, we expect them to take these things forward. It's one of the reasons that you don't see MPRI on the front page of the paper every day. You don't see us out there bantering around and talking about what politicians said what about this or that or the other thing, because that's not what we're all about.
You mean you're not gossip?
No.
Oh, Lord. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers with more with Ranson Webster after this.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
Since its creation more than a decade ago, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has focused on 3 goals: preserving water quality, improving water conservation in Southern Nevada, and meeting the community's current and future water needs. Through thoughtful planning, responsible management, and collaboration, it's succeeding. As we move into the 21st century, the authority continues to embrace sustainable water development and efficient water use. That's our promise to Nevada.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%. lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
If it's fun, it's here at the Pepper Mill, the $100,000 video-themed slot celebration, with more winners each week, 100 random winners every Monday and Wednesday, and more cash prizes, $6,000 random drawings every Friday, plus chances to win up to $1,000 in free slot play on Mr. Money's Challenge. You'll have more fun with the Pepper Mill's video-themed slot celebration, now worth over $100,000.
The slots that rock are at the Pepper Mill. Where are you winning?
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, just control yourself. The show, we're getting back in the show here. Yes, we are. Ranson Webster is here. He's chairman of the Nevada Policy Research Institute. People get very excited on the show. Go ahead, buddy.
Well, Mr. Webster, let's get it right out. The TABOR is a taxpayer bill of rights.
Right.
And you were saying off air that it saved how much money for the state of Colorado?
You know, since TABOR was enacted in Colorado, it's given some $5 billion back to the taxpayers. And the key to TABOR in that state is it's a vehicle to give money back to the taxpayers. If you think about what's happened this year, you know, we're going to give $300 million back via a DMV rebate. And of course, there was a tremendous amount of, contention about that. Was it right, wrong, or different? We wasted, how much of our legislative session did we waste trying to figure out how to give the money back that we should never have collected in the first place? And so TABOR is a way to index spending. You take inflation, you take population growth, and you index it, and that basically, if you stay within those parameters, there's a vehicle there to give the money back to the very people that gave it to you.
Do you agree with Carol Velardo from the Nevada Taxpayers Association who says we should have 10% rainy day fund?
I do. I do personally.
Because that was the problem in Colorado, was they didn't have a rainy day fund.
Right.
When things went south, that was where they had problems. And there will be elections in November that will decide whether TABOR, continues on into the future.
But also a key in Colorado here was they also had a law that was diametrically opposed to TABOR, that the funding for public education had to increase.
Right.
But we don't have that in Nevada. So do you think that would help TABOR be a success here?
I think so. And as I said, we need to do more research on this, and I think our legislators need to be very, very thoughtful, and they need to really look at this issue very, very carefully, because what we don't need to do is to go off and do something and 5 years later discover that it wasn't, what it needed to be. So many times we jump into these things, like this last tax increase, we jumped in because there was the hysteria of no revenue and where are we going to get all of our money, and then now all of a sudden here we are. We have all this excess funds.
Do you anticipate in the next session that they'll start to deal with the fact that we're going to continue to have these increased revenues from sales taxes and property taxes?
They're going to have to. Look at property taxes are going to increase 30 or 40%. That's just the reality of it, because Nevada is starting to catch up to California in terms of its valuations now.
We're capped at 8% for businesses and 3%
but still, it's an ongoing thing. I mean, there was a projection done some years ago that these increases weren't going to be enough to keep us going, and I think that we're going to have more than enough resources when the day is done.
Mr. Webster, on the npri.org website, your issue briefs, they're highly critical of public education, but what I found lacking was any issue brief on higher education. Why be so critical on K-12 but seemingly give higher education a free pass?
I don't think that we've given them a free pass. Remember that when we do our case studies and when these studies are funded, there's only so much we can do in a given period of time. I think you're going to see more come from us with higher education. We had a very successful education roundtable this year, and we asked people to come in from all walks of life to contribute to it. I think what was most disturbing to us is that we had children going into the university system, and we had a 30% rate that needed some sort of remedial education. And, you know, you have to start at the beginning before you start attacking the end. And I think that's where we're at in the process.
And it's good that Jim Rogers, owner of Sunbelt, upon which these stations broadcast this program, who is the chancellor, has gotten a dialogue going now with Clark County School District to actually address that. The other thing is, and I was just curious, as a successful businessman yourself, the suggestion that the Clark County School Superintendent should go from a salary in the $200,000 range to $400,000 to $600,000 to get a superstar, how did that strike you?
Well, you know, I know what the chancellor's intent is, and you know, my personal opinion, I know Jim. He's brilliant. You know, look at what he's done in his life. But you know, the reality is that the education system in the state is not a quick fix. You're not going to spend $600,000 and hire someone that's going to come in with a magic bullet. It's going to require a lot more, you know, research. We are coming out with a paper that is going to talk a lot about deconsolidation. It's been proven in many, many other states and venues that when you deconsolidate, your education level goes up. And all we have is absolutely, we have a giant bureaucracy in Clark and Washoe County. And when you start looking at where the dollars go in terms of administration or educating pupils, I think it's going to be very, very shocking when we release this study.
Mr. Webster, do you want to break up the Washoe County School District also?
You know, I don't want to break anything up. What I'm suggesting is that our research, I think, will show that we would have a better product if we looked at some reconfiguration in our school districts.
Okay, I want to change the subject completely into an area of philanthropy for you. For folks that may not be aware of it, especially in the southern portion of the state, just for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, talk about your involvement with the National Automobile Museum.
Okay. You know, I've been involved with the National Automobile Museum now for several years, and it's interesting how I got involved with it. At the time, I was the chairman of the Financial Advisory Board for the City of Reno, and the mayor then had asked me to go over and find out what we were going to do with all these short-term bonds that were coming due. And I went over and looked at it, and it struck me as a national treasure that we're very, very fortunate to have right here in Reno, Nevada. You know, we have basically 175 of the original Bill Harrah collection cars, and you know, it's a tremendous thing for our community. And I became very committed and very dedicated to it, and have continued on as the chairman of that organization for the last several years, and continue to support it.
And I understand that you have a couple of Porsches yourself.
I do. I do have a couple myself.
And from time to time, he's a citizen. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. You're welcome back anytime.
Well, thank you.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we focus on attracting high-tech companies to northern Nevada. One vital amenity provided to companies at TRI is a connection to a complete digital fiber network. This gives the ability of unlimited bandwidth and voice services to every business. And what's charged for the installation of this valuable asset? Nothing. Zero. Nada. And that's a pretty good deal. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they've saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
As As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're joined by Dick Gammick, our Washoe County District Attorney, Marlene Lockard with Capital Strategies, and Pat Coward with Carrera, Nevada. Welcome to all of you.
Well, Dick, let me start with you. Over the weekend, Republican Senator from Nebraska, Dick Hagan, was quite critical of...
Chuck Hagel.
Chuck Hagel. I get too many Richards here. He was critical of President Bush's handling of Iraq. Bush has since been on the defensive up in Idaho. What do you think about Republicans now coming out to criticize the president?
And I don't think any more of that than I think a Democrat's criticizing the president on this.
I go back, breaking ranks, though?
I go back to my same mantra. Well, you've got Democrats that come over and support him, so I don't think you see necessarily a break in ranks. I can't speak to his motives, even have Republicans becoming Democrats. That's what each individual does. But the president's been very thorough about speaking again, exactly what he's doing and why he's doing it. And
Marlene, isn't this all about 06? Don't the senators and congressmen who are up for re-election have to start making noise like this?
Well, I think, yes, to some degree, but I do think when you see the numbers, you see the writing on the wall. More than half the public now disagrees with ever going into Iraq in the first instance, and that the negative feelings are growing within the public nationwide, and you're going to see the representatives begin to reflect what they're hearing from their constituents.
Pat, what about you? Do you think
that
the president's losing popularity over this?
Anytime you have the amount of deaths that we're having over there, I think that is a negative issue. But I think when you really talk to the people and the elected senators and congressmen about it, they were there, let's finish the job.
Why is the president going to outposts like in Idaho and Montana to talk to the people? Is he looking for weapons of mass destruction up there, or is he just trying to preach to the choir? Marlene?
Well,
I'm just going to say, these are the very kind of comments that keep on the president's back day in and day out, continually by the media, that starts swinging people toward criticizing the president over all this. It's amazing.
So we should do we need questions?
Do we need the Twin Towers to get wiped out again? Do we need 3,000 more dead Americans? I mean, what are we doing here?
But it wasn't Iraq that ran into the Twin Towers, Dick, and that's the problem. He had the whole country with him when we went into Afghanistan.
I think to answer your question, Salt Lake City was because the veterans had their convention there, and I think it was a friendly audience for the president to
so he's looking for a friendly audience.
Well, you know what? That's not anything new. He always has.
Let's go with what David Gregory, White House correspondent for NBC News, said the other day, which is that when you're out there in Crawford, Texas, in the middle of summer, you're a long way away from where the president is, and you're looking for news because there isn't any. And Cindy Sheehan suddenly becomes somebody that will talk to the media, and everybody talks to her, and suddenly that becomes the big story. You know, we've moved on, I think, a little ways from the runaway bride, but at this point, Cindy Sheehan is now, you know, the center of attention. But it's because it's summer and there's a news vacuum. There is nothing going on.
I don't agree with that. There's plenty of stuff. There's not a news vacuum.
There's a news vacuum in the summer.
I don't agree with that.
Well, that's fine.
What about Iraq? What about...
I'm not disagreeing with you with what's going on in Iraq, but I'm just saying that the reason that we're seeing all of this attention is because the reporters have not a lot to talk about. Newspapers are not particularly thick this time of year. I would like to change the subject if I may. Marlene, Jim Rogers announced this morning that he is not running for governor.
That's correct. He indicated that he's going to put $2 million into his PAC that he just formed to educate Nevadans about education. He thinks that we need to emphasize K through 12, and that's going to be his focus and where all of his energy is.
Any response to that from you guys?
Go ahead, Pat.
I think it's going to be a very interesting campaign. I was not aware he put $2 million into a PAC.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit of a jump from 5,000.
Yeah.
Which is what he started with.
Yeah.
Why didn't he put the $2 million into K through 12 education?
You know, it's his money. I think he has the right to do anything he darn well
Yes, he
pleases
does,
with
right?
it. So.
But just like I was just told, we can ask the questions.
Absolutely. Let's talk. You know, Pat, you represent the pharmaceutical industry. A couple of stories out here. One is that the Canadian drug program for the Silver State could start up to a month earlier. I was wondering about what the response from the industry has been to this, and also the whole Vioxx deal. I mean, that's you know, are we going to see the major pharmaceutical companies crumble with these lawsuits?
Oh, I don't think so. I think with Merck, one of the issues is no two ways about it. There's going to be a lot of lawsuits out there. There's a lot of money that they've put away to handle some of these liability cases. But I think as far as their pipeline, they have a very rich pipeline of new drugs coming out. I think that you're going to see Merck be okay.
Any response, you guys?
I'd like to know why the pharmaceuticals put so much money into advertising, and what they would save in advertising. They could reduce the drug costs to our seniors in this country.
I think you have a program coming out in '06 that is going to provide senior citizens on Medicare with a drug program.
Well, what about all these Viagra ads and everything?
President's
Some people, why do we need all of those?
You really don't. That's personally. I think
so
that one of the things that they wouldn't advertise unless they made money.
And the bottom line, and I'll stick up for Pat here, is that this is a drop in the bucket. The advertising cost for pharmaceuticals is a drop in the bucket by comparison with the size of the industry.
Just take the millions of dollars that they give away every year, millions and millions and millions, just to the doctors and free samples, so they get you on their particular drug. I mean, it's
and they have a new program. They have a new program out for needy citizens right now that they're going to be advertising a website that they can go on with the doctor's prescription and get financial help.
Can you get Viagra on that?
No.
We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this. You're asking a lot of Viagra questions, right?
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Play over 480 of the hottest slots and video poker games. Enjoy hot times and sizzling food specials at Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. Watch your favorite game on one of our jumbo high-definition plasma TVs. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the Dining Car Restaurant. Or sample the best hot and cold sandwiches in the Whistle Stop Deli. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Abadi Ranch Parkway. Yeah.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground, and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
And don't forget, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers online at nevadanewsmakers.com.
Well, Sam, tomorrow we have Lieutenant Governor Lorraine Hunt. She's running for governor, and don't underestimate her.
We'll see you tomorrow.